Off we go now to the bottom of the North Island with producer Sally Round to meet a farmer who's mixing with celebs and rich listers, staying in the lap of luxury.
Just to throw you in the deep end of that, yeah. Oh, Bradley anyway.
Bradley Monty.
Nice to meet you.
Paula.
Hello. Where are you guys from?
Arizona in the US.
Oh, okay. So this would be probably pretty cold at the moment for you guys.
Yeah, it snowed after we left.
Giving these guests from overseas a few pointers on sheepdog characteristics is all part of the job for the manager of this 530-hectare sheep and beef farm overlooking Palliser Bay.
I'm Bradley Riggs. I'm the farm manager at Whakakoho Country Estate. I've currently been here 13 and a half years, so first year just as the boy, just the shepherd, and then took over the farm manager's position.
Whakakoho is not just a farm, it's a luxury lodge. Royals, celebrities and rich listers have stayed on the remote property over the years. A farm tour or watching farm activities is all part of the offering.
So yeah, I'll explain about the dogs. So we have two different breeds here. The smaller one is what we call a heading dog. Basically her presence is what's shifting the sheep. So that's her left command. She'll go to the left, gather them up. She's just pushing them out from under the trees now. Steady, Sky. So she'll really be using her eyes, steering the sheep down. She's basically telling the sheep who's boss. I'll put Harry out now so you can see the difference in the way they work. So basically the bark is just giving him a lot more power than the heading dog on its own.
The visitors watch intently as the small flock is rounded up in a paddock near the lodge.
So that's on a very small scale, but obviously...
They can do it with hundreds of sheep.
Yeah, thousands even. Here, Sky. Here, Sky.
I've seen the heading dog before, but I've never seen, what's the name of that one?
Huntaway.
I've never seen the Huntaway operate.
Yeah, both of them are very specific.
How fast they operate just amazes me.
Yeah.
Tell me what a typical day involves.
Basically anything from admin right through anything sheep and beef farming to doing the dirty work, dog tuckers, dagging, whatever it is, pretty much I'm involved in it somehow. I do have one staff member also, so yeah, we just muck in together and get everything done.
It's not your typical farming manager's job though, is it? You do have guests staying at a luxury lodge on site who you're also taking on farm tours.
Yeah, that's correct. So yeah, it adds a whole lot of new layers to sheep and beef farming pretty much. Some positive, maybe sometimes some not so positive, not latching gates and things like that, but for most of the time it's really interesting, and yeah, a lot of extra staff also to help run the lodge. So yeah, there's a lot of activity around, a lot of extra things to think about that probably most sheep and beef farmers wouldn't need to think about.
What else are you mindful of as you go about the farm, perhaps with some of these guests, taking a walk or doing a farm tour with a guide?
I guess animal welfare has to be at a higher standard. Just the aesthetics of the farm, keeping it nice and tidy, things like dead sheep. Obviously anyone who's farming will know if you've got livestock, you'll have a few dead stock here and there, so we just try and pick everything up so it's out of sight, and if they did ask about deaths, just certainly be honest and tell them the facts and figures around that, but it's not something we actively, or especially for me, I don't really want personally for that side of the farming to be seen, but as with humans, we live and we die, so it is part of farming.
Do you think it's an authentic view of farming that they get, or is it a bit of a sanitised view of things?
Once they come into the wool shed, they get, if they want to ask me a question, they'll get an honest answer. As an example, we don't have a killing house, and the other day we had to kill some dog tuckers, and there was still sheep carcasses hanging up in the wool shed, and I just explained to them beforehand that they're there and why they're there, that the dogs need to be fed. and dogs need a lot of fat in their diet, so mutton's perfect, and yeah, we just carry on, and yeah, it is sort of I try and integrate actually the real life farming into it, and any questions they ask me, they get an honest answer, whether it's the good, the bad, or the ugly. So.
No carcasses in the wool shed today, just a live lamb in the pen waiting for a demo shear.
So these are Tudus, so they're pretty much adults now. They'll have their first lamb as an adult this coming winter, late winter.
So young adults.
Yeah, pretty much.
These all female?
These are all female, yeah.
So if there's not much of a market for wool now.
Unfortunately not, no.
So you shear them anyhow just for like their own health? Or?
Yep. So I'll shear one of these for you in a minute.
Bradley gets on his shearing gear while the visitors get their cameras ready.
So these are what we call shearing moccasins. These are just for good grip. Biggest thing is you're closer to the ground, so you don't have a sole like a normal shoe or boot. The shearers are hunched over all day, so they want to be as close to the ground as possible, because it's all about efficiency for the shearers. The more they shear, the more they get paid. So. And then the handpiece is pretty much the same as what a barber has. So you've got your comb on the bottom, which is screwed on, and then you've got your cutter on top working side to side. So they're going through sort of 3 or 4 combs an hour, and anywhere from maybe 4 to 8 cutters an hour.
Wow.
They do get little cuts on them too, so don't be too shocked if I give it a little cut. It's just part of it. I've had some guests walk out because they're too scared to see a sheep get shorn, thinking it's going to be screaming, and some of them think we have to skin the sheep. Yes, most are quite shocked on how passive the sheep are. So. You can really see that lanolin on my hands, so that's the natural oil on the sheep. That'll help protect any cuts. It'll basically waterproof the sheep, so when it gets really, if it's in a big downpour rain, it'll just basically shake and the water will just beads off. The skin will double in thickness in a few days, which helps keep it warm, and she's basically just going to eat a lot more now to keep warm. Just her digestive system working is what's going to keep her warm.
Bradley lets the visitors have a close-up view of the wool he's taken off.
Interesting, very interesting.
This is lamb's wool, so it's a lot shorter than what I showed you with the ewe fleece. All these discoloured bits and shorter bits they take out, so the belly and the short bits around the legs, points of the legs and that sort of thing, they take out.
And you are able to sell it, just not for much money.
Yeah, no, we can still sell it. So yeah, I've just sold my wool today actually, and I think I got for the lamb's wool, got $5,500, but it cost me $10,000 to pay the shearers. So
It's not a business.
It's just a byproduct of farming.
Asking all the questions was Monty Reed, a guest at the lodge from Arizona.
Well, I was a businessman when I worked, and just how any business works, I find very fascinating. And every business always has so much more detail of what they have to do than you would think on just first looking at it. I've seen a few sheep shearing and dog demonstrations before. This was by far the most in-depth.
What does this add to your experience of the country? Seeing the shearing, hearing a farmer talk?
It makes me understand as you're driving in the beautiful countryside, just what's happening on the different farms and what they're doing.
Shall we walk as we go? And
Sure.
And what surprises you about what you've seen? What you've heard from
How
Bradley?
little I know about farming. Bradley did an excellent job, and it was just I found it very interesting just how quickly you could explain a lot of the business to rookies like me. You can save your grass by letting the wool be longer, but then you can have other problems. I did find that if you don't shear them and the sheep falls over, it may not be able to get back up, and the sheep can roll down the hill. I found both of those kind of funny.
the guests head off on the rest of the farm tour. But Bradley's not finished yet, having to deal with questions. Now, you have to deal with more than just the guests. Sometimes these are celebrities or, high-flying executives, and they might have their own retinue of people alongside, security people. What's it like farming with a whole bunch of different factors like that?
That side of it's not too bad. I just do my farm tour the same way I always would do it, and sometimes you do see guests walking past the yards and things like that, and they'll have security with them, and it doesn't change my day really. So you just carry on and do your own thing, and sometimes it can be pretty intense when there are a lot of police and that sort of thing around as well, but that's very seldom. Most of the famous guests are more probably famous in the US, and I have probably met some very famous people and would be none the wiser. I know I've met basketball players, I've been told after the fact that they were famous basketball players and that sort of thing, but in New Zealand obviously they're not overly famous, and I wouldn't know them if I fell over them. But
how important is the farm for the lodge and for the tourism business?
Well, basically it's sold as a farm on a lodge, and that's, I guess, a point of difference, having the wide open spaces and the sea to the south of us, and the Rimutaka Forest Park to the north and west of us. So yeah, I guess it gives it a sense of identity that maybe other luxury lodges may or may not have. Obviously there's other ones on farms as well, but this is a pretty unique and special part of the country too. So it's it gives the lodge an identity, and I guess the lodge also gives the farm an identity, because there's that point of difference too. So
are many of the guests here to see the farming operation?
We do get a few that are specifically wanting to sort of learn about the farm and have asked to spend a bit more time with me than just the farm tour. And other people that are a lot of Australians are quite interested, that have come from farming or farming backgrounds. They might have their own farms. We get a lot from there, and the odd one from the UK, and the odd Kiwis as well that have come through and want to know sort of what I'm doing here. But it's pretty much a standard sheep and beef farm anyway. It's to me, it's probably not all that much different than a normal farm in the way it's run. There's just the extra elements of the lodge side of the business added into it.
Does the farm support the lodge, or the lodge support the farm?
Oh, well, initially the lodge was put in as more of a homestay. That was started in the 80s, so when the subsidies came off farming, it was sink or swim, and the lodge sort of propped the farm up through that time, and then it sort of has swung the other way. The farm's really helped the lodge be economic at times, at least for maybe the first sort of 5 to 7 years. The lodge was really reliant on the income from the farm. It swings and roundabouts. And
what does it add to your job, do you think, having this involvement with guests from all over the world? Because the farming can be pretty solitary.
I just definitely, not just with the guests, but also having staff around. I guess the isolation can get to you a wee bit. Just having lots of people around is always good. It's always someone to talk to, and basically I get paid to show off what I do for a living, and most guests are pretty interested in that, and that's very rewarding.
Bradley Riggs there, the farm manager at Wharakoho Country Estate on Palliser Bay, over the hill from Wellington. That story was produced by Sally Round. You might have heard Bradley Jr. there too. He was great at sweeping up the wool after the shearing demonstration.